Hey you! Yeah, I mean you. I know you've been looking for a new MMO to get into, and I have bad news for you. But first, hi! Welcome to my channel, and please, stay for more, y'all. Every year, there is at least one new MMO that promises to be the next big thing. It garners a lot of hype, which leads to a lot of pre-orders, which then leads to catastrophe on day one. Eventually, within its first 10 years, the community will have died off, and then the servers will soon follow them after. This isn't new at all. If you were to survey people in 2026 versus 2020 on what they think are the most popular MMOs are, you would learn there really isn't that much difference within time. But this exposes an entirely different issue in the MMO genre. It is harder for newer games to find their footing in the long term, so as a result, they fail, while older games can still maintain their place in the pantheon of MMOs. In my opinion, the whole thing boils down to two causes. The first of which is the issue of money. Gaming in general, as we all know if you're watching this video, is an expensive hobby. And in 2026, it's going to get worse with pricing going up to closer towards $80 these days. With MMOs, developers have to constantly be making the next big expansion in order to make more money. Older MMOs have found a good way around the financial issue. Newer players are able to start a new account on a trial account, which is designed to be free but would limit the player experience, often locking content or setting a smaller level cap compared to paying players. Once a trial player is able to experience what they can for free, they may decide to then pay for one of two things. Most MMOs, like World of Warcraft, establish a set monthly fee, typically ranging from $10 to $15, that lets you keep access to the game while you still are subscribed. The only time players would have to pay more than the fee is when a new expansion is released, and therefore they have to pay for more content. Then you'll also have games like Guild Wars 2, which only requires players to buy the expansions without a subscription fee attached to them. Newer MMOs are not able to afford this luxury at all. At launch, they typically cannot afford to let players play for free, so there is a much larger base price. A little update. So, while editing, I realized I forgot to mention something, and is that because the MMO market is so undesirable financially for larger studios, a lot of the newer MMOs that tend to be released come from smaller independent studios that fundraise through crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I don't think I can talk about the financial situations with running an MMO without talking about the current controversy of Intrepid Studios and Ashes of Creation. Ashes of Creation was announced back in 2016 and garnered millions of dollars through Kickstarters and independent investors. And for 9 years, if you were to look on YouTube and see people hyping up any independent MMO, it would be Ashes of Creations. Backers reported that they had to pay hundreds of dollars to access the game early on. Additionally, earlier this year, Intrepid Studios suddenly shut down, and not long after, one of the investors came forward and accused Intrepid Studios founder Stephen Sheriff of defrauding investors and pocketing millions of dollars, despite claims from Sheriff of how much he was giving back to development. This isn't a unique situation to Ash's creation at all. Many smaller MMOs start out as a crowdfunding campaign promising to be the next big thing, only for it to be revealed later on that it was actually just a scam by a bunch of developers wanting to make quick money. Now, back to me. Perhaps the biggest reason as to why newer MMOs failed. There is a lack of identity. If you look at the current MMOs that are popular in the market right now, they might have some overlap, but not all of them are offer the same things at this same exact time. WoW, a game released in 2004, only recently launched their own player housing system this past month. So when there are a lot of elements that MMO developers know that people want, they tend to try to find something niche to focus on or take elements from other games to garner a larger audience. But when you look at the currently most played MMOs in the market, none of them are really carbon copies of one another. Most MMO players, like myself, find ourselves disillusioned with the game we just spent hundreds of hours in and would like to find something new. So when we see something that's promising X, Y, and Z and the kitchen sink, we're going to get drawn towards it. But unfortunately, when a game says it's going to have everything you want at launch, it is sacrificing quality for higher quantities. And when it has everything in the game, it's going to get compared to everything, including the games that have been around for decades. Of course, people are more likely to just go back to the games they spent hundreds of hours pouring into. Or if they want to try a new MMO, they're going to go for the MMO that is already popular and has lots of content that they can just access for free instead of dropping $60 on something that they might enjoy later on. As a result, because some developers refuse to pivot or just adapt to the situation, their solution is to just end life support before they hemorrhage even more money. But I believe there is another way that these games can survive if the developers choose to go this route. When the original Final Fantasy XIV was released in 2010, it received scathing reviews, with it appearing in the 2013 edition of the Guinness World Records book Gamer Edition as the worst reviewed MMO ever. But after shutting down servers in 2012, Square Enix decided to go at it in terms of production and eventually re-release the game, allowing it to thrive as the game it is today. In my opinion, as someone who has played MMOs constantly growing up, I genuinely think that they could find their footing later on if they had the time and effort. However, I understand a lot of these developers don't have the money or the time to pour into these games. So, as much as I would like to see another MMO thrive, I have to understand that it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort that may not ever happen. Thank you so much for taking the time and effort to watch this video. First things first, I want to thank my sister for providing me some footage of Final Fantasy XIV to use as I had none saved. Please like and subscribe and check me out on Twitch under at HypeBoyWestTV, where I'm hoping to start streaming more regularly once again. And catch y'all on the flip.